All right, family. We are rounding down to part 3 of our Mind, Body, and Soul Healing Expo right here at Everlasting Life. This is the Black Wall Street Renaissance, where we take open the stage every first Saturday of the month for different events, activities. We've housed people like Professor Griff. We've had special Hollywood-style chefs to come in and do food demonstrations. I'm trying to think of her name. That's why I'm stuck. But we do the gamut. We run the gamut. We do lectures, as you can see. We've had performances, live musical performances. And we're always taking recommendations, too. So I've had people come up to me with a great idea, and we brought them up. We brought them up as one of our presenters. So if you are out there and you know somebody who would fit the Black Wall Street Renaissance theme, and which is community. As long as they're supportive of the community, they're doing something on a positive note, they're helping to push our agenda forward as a race, anything or anybody pertaining to that, give me a call, give me a holler, let me know, because we may be interested in putting them on the lineup. A couple of other things we do here at Everlasting Life. Right behind you is a full-fledged studio. We do air all types of showing and viewership. It's an audio and visual studio, so you can check that out on Facebook. It's under eLife Studios or eLife Media. Every Thursday, we do what's Children's Night. Children eat free from 6 to 8 p.m. with a paying adult. And then they come and they have a really good time together with other children. If you walked in the door and noticed that plant box out front is full of vegetables. There's tomatoes growing, there's kale growing, there's radishes. The children planted all those vegetables. Yes?
How old are children, 40 and under?
No, sir. Little small children. No 40 and under. No. So that's each and every Thursday. So they do different things with activities with the children as well teaching them how to plant vegetables is one. Myself, along with my sister Hanifa, we do a program called the Empower Hour right here at eLife Studios every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. We come to you with impactful topics of discussion that affect our everyday lives. We have, a couple of weeks ago, we interviewed Dr. Umar Johnson. We have coming up the Minister of Wellness, if you guys are familiar with him. We had Baba Okoya on our show before. So, we hit them heavy hitters. So we get them on the program. We're on YouTube as well. So I have flyers right in the back. You can pick them up right on the counter. All the information for our show is right here on the flyer. And so if you can't catch us live, which goes from 2 to 3 p.m., we have a YouTube channel. So all that information is on there. I'm going to shut up. And I'm going to bring up the man of the house, who really needs no introduction because he is the one that makes this happen. Without him and his vision and his brilliance, none of this would happen. And that man has a mind like a machine. So, and he has so much more in store for us, really, than just this. This is just a small part of the whole, this Everlasting Life vegan restaurant and lounge right here, one of 3 locations and growing. But again, I'm going to stop because I can say so much about this man, and I'm going to let him talk for himself. Please put a warm hand together for Dr. Baruch.
Thank you very much. Fine, except I had a cell phone sitting right here. That would be a problem. All right, thank you all very much. I am very honored and thankful to have you all in my house. It's It's a great thing and not to be taken lightly. I've got some things that I want to say on the front end, just to kind of give you a background of where I come from. I want to do this, and then I'll jump into my presentation, so that you know who I'm talking to. If you're black, Negro, African, colored, let me get this right. Okay. If you're black, Negro, African, colored, Caribbean, West Indian, Puerto Rican, Afrocentric, and Southern American, South Central American and Southern American, African American, Afro-American, American, dark-complected, light-complected, old, young, healthy, sick, weak, strong, drug-dealing, drug-using, straight, homosexual, Republican, Democrat, rich, poor, got a job, unemployed, single, married, hair weave, natural, educated, incarcerated, homeless, player, hater, feminist, nationalist, Christian, Muslim, Moor, atheist, Caribbean, tall, short, fat, slim, sports figure, celebrity, sellout, snitch, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Alpha, Kappa, Sigma, Omega, Delta, Zeta, AKA, loud, quiet, or just breathing. If there's melanin in your skin, your enemy is my enemy. I honor you, and I honor your bloodline for surviving the most vile predator ever known to the planet. Let's unify or die. Trying. My name is Dr. Baruch, and I am, as Sister AlQamar shared with you, the CEO and founder of Everlasting Life. But obviously, you know, this all couldn't happen without the people back there and the people over there and, of course, the people out here. Couldn't happen without you all. So for me to take all the credit would be really inappropriate. This is our place. And this is why we're able to use it, you know, the way that we do, because I understand the significance of us having an enemy. We have an enemy. And I want to talk to you about that, and I'm going to get into nutrition, I'm going to get into health, but first off, if we don't understand the backdrop of this, if you don't understand that you have an enemy, and we, unlike many other creatures in creation, you know, you don't see videos oftentimes with, you know, a whole flock of lamb hanging out with a flock of lions, right? You just don't see it, right? Especially when you see lamb, you know, indiscriminately, frequently getting slaughtered by the lions, right? You just don't see it happen. However, there's this thing called the Stockholm Syndrome, right? Where after being, you know, taken hostage and treated poorly and so on and so forth, the hostages then come out and say, you know what? I want to be with y'all. You know, I kind of like you guys. I want to be just like you. I want to look like you, talk like you, work the job, live in your neighborhood, send my children to the same schools that you send your. I want to be like you. We got to do away with the Stockholm Syndrome, because that can't compare to what syndrome we got. Because we got something new, and there's some next level stuff that we're suffering from. That we have decided that after all that we've been through, even up until 2 seconds ago, because somebody just went through some stuff, right? We still decide that we are most comfortable and desiring to be in the midst of our predator. Real interesting. I want you to think about that. And I said that to everybody. That's why I went down that list. I don't care. If you got melanin in your skin, then your enemy is my enemy, not because we choose it, but because he chose it. He has decided that you are his enemy, not by any other reason or for any other reason or anything that you've done specifically, but because you have melanin in your skin. That's it. Born 2 seconds later, you might have been a white woman, and you wouldn't have the issues that those of us in this room have. But because you were born at the moment that you were born to the parents that you were born to, you now have by birth a predator. It is unnatural. It is unsafe. It is insane that a prey would want to live amongst his predator. That doesn't make sense. And worse, to not only live amongst his predator, but to try to find peace. We just let me warm up. You know, you're not a bad person. You're really not a bad person. I just want to warm up and get up next to you and cozy so that you're okay with me. Come on, man. We have to wake up. We have to wait. We have a problem, and our problem, you know, when you go down the list of illnesses affecting people of color, can y'all, by show of hands, can y'all give me some of them? What do you think is the worst one? Give me that one. What's the worst illness affecting us?
Heart disease.
Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity. What else? Kidney disease, hypertension. Now, how many of us in this room don't know somebody, at least one somebody, only one somebody who is sick? Is there anybody in this room who doesn't know at least one somebody somebody who's on medication, died from one of those diseases that you're talking about today? Is there one somebody in this room who doesn't know of one somebody who isn't or wasn't sick before they died? That is crazy. And we've decided that this is now the new normal for us, that all of us are going to live in a space where everybody can expect to know somebody or themselves maybe. You know yourself and you're going to become sick. It's just a natural occurrence. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with our mind. Something's wrong with our belief systems. So I agree with all of those illnesses that you listed out, but the worst illness that we have is that we don't love ourselves. We have low self-worth, which is an outgrowth of not knowing who we are, not knowing where we came from, and not knowing what we're supposed to do. We have such low self-worth, we will go for anything. And you saw it 2 weeks ago when they were standing on lines to buy some fried crap and bragging about it on their little live screen showings that they was doing on their phone. Bragging! I want to show you how ignorant I am. No. I'm just how ignorant. This is how ignorant. Look at how ignorant all the rest of these people are too. They all in here. We's ignorant together. And you got to know the people standing up at the top and looking down and go like, damn, this is too easy. This is too easy, man. That's all we got to do is make some poison and they'll come running. Because they got low self-worth. So, I ask you a question before I go there even. Elephants give birth to elephants, right? It won't seem strange to you, right, to see an elephant give birth to an elephant? Or a giraffe give birth to a giraffe? Do you know many Christians that are born to Buddhists or to Muslim families? It's not as common as it is Christian born to Christian families, right? Muslims born to Muslim families is more common than Muslims born to other families, right? Predators are born from predator families. That's a predator conditioning. Nazis are born from a Nazi family. Okay? They're born from a Nazi mentality, a Nazi conditioning, a Nazi agenda, a Nazi expectation. They're born of that thought process. So, you all know who the number one immigrant is in the United States of America? We see all this fuss and fight in America. Which is the number one immigrant or country of immigration of these people coming from? You know?
Russia.
I'm hearing some things. Russia, Europe, go ahead. Why aren't y'all saying South America? Why aren't y'all saying, Mexico? Why aren't you saying Puerto Rico? Why aren't you saying El Salvador? Why aren't you saying the largest immigrant population in the United States of America is German? It's German. It happened after the war with Germany. These people were seeking exile. They were seeking, they were refugees, looking for a place to live. Nazis give birth to Nazis. You need to look up in your conspiracy dictionary, Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was America, and I'm going to paraphrase real poorly with this, so don't hold me to task, but America pardoned many of the German scientists, both their physicists as well as their medical doctors, so that they could advance beyond Russia at the end of the war. They were due to be killed. They were sentenced to death, but they pardoned them so that they could advance the science in the United States of America. But what came with the advancement of the science from out of Germany, Nazi Germany, that was brought over here to the United States of America, were the establishment of the American Medical Association. The establishment of so many different chemical companies across the United States of America are German-owned. Those chemical companies began to morph and realize that it's a better pursuit, or we could expand our business and now get into the food side of this industry. Monsanto, Arthur Daniels Midland, Syngenta, Bayer, and you see the same names you find in, as the brother said, the pharmaceutical drug industry. The agenda hasn't changed. We're looking at the guy getting shot or beat up by the police officer over there in St. Louis, and mama, daddy, uncle, cousin, the next door neighbor, everybody in the neighborhood got diabetes. Like somewhere, we ought to be able to send God a refund for these poor bodies that we got, that he didn't know how to make kidneys, he didn't know how to make a heart, he didn't know how to make a pancreas, he didn't know how to make a healthy body. So we need to send these back and get our refund and get another body. Or we happen to be living amongst our predator, where a predator is not just any predator, but a predator that's so clever that he has concealed himself, he's hidden himself, so that it's not obvious that the reason why we have all the conditions that we got is because of his existence. And it's a tough issue to have to address, because you scratch your head, well, how would we make it without? I don't see how we can make it without. Well, at some point, somebody's got to start something, because if we continue down this road, putting our children into this cycle of suffering and pain and racism and predation that comes as a result of living in this place, it's bad. It's just going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Are y'all with me? Yes. Everything is energy. Everything in the whole, everything is energy. The energy is everything. There are people that possess a certain energy based on the expression that comes from them, and when you see them come in the room, you already know that person's got some good energy about them. Or they got some bad energy. Come over here, baby. Come over here next to me, because I don't like what I'm seeing over there. We used to have that kind of, intuition. Not just women, but as a people. We used to know, yeah, it's time for us to go. Yeah, it's time, let's go pack everything. But why? We haven't eaten yet. It's time for us to go. We're going to go ahead and get out of here, because no, I ain't feeling this right now. There was intuition. Grandma had intuition and knowledge. When she came in the house and Auntie had an attitude and she was slamming pots and slamming spoons and mad because she was in there cooking dinner for the third night in a row and nobody else can cook but her, and she's pissed off. And Granny said, okay, no, you leave. Thank you. You go. And then she called me and my brothers and sisters and said, you know what? Take all that food and dump it out in the backyard. We ain't about to eat that crap. And now we have the audacity. We have it's just blatant ignorance to go out and eat from somebody we don't even know who prepared the food. You don't even know you don't know whether they like, you don't know whether they have an attitude, you don't know nothing about nothing. You just taste it, and that's the only qualification. It's inexpensive, it's convenient, it tastes good, and I'm accustomed to it, and everybody else look like they doing all right eating it. What kind of criteria is that? But that's what we use. Everything is energy. we have to begin to take our energy and begin to build something new for ourselves. Bob Marley sung a song called Exodus. It's time for us to get up, because I don't know about you, but it doesn't look, in my years, in my 53 years being on the planet, I don't see it ever getting better. I don't remember a time where it got better. I don't remember a time when it got better. And the way it's looking right now, I don't see it getting better. So is our thing just to suffer? Is our desire just to suffer? Just to see whether this thing works out? And there's another piece of this equation that's tough for us to grapple with. Your belief system. I call it BS. Your BS. Because you believe that the guy that enslaved you, raped, robbed, castrated you, did all the cut your stomach, stomped on the babies, allowed you to have access to the greatest force in the universe. You believe that he slipped up. Oh man, I missed it. How did I miss that? I gave him access to the way that they can get out of this. I think we're fooling ourselves. I think our Savior is in the mirror, which is fortunate and unfortunate. It's unfortunate for those of you who don't want to do that. It's fortunate for those of us who recognize that, well, all right, I'm tired of waiting on somebody else. It's time for me to do it. It's time for me to do what I need to do in order to save myself and save my family. It's time out for us looking up in the sky waiting on somebody who looks like the same dude that just got finished doing all those terrible things to you. It's time up for us to keep waiting on that to come down and all of a sudden be the Savior. And they go into the same institutions that we go into and going through the same processes and saying the same things and reading from the same thing. And we all of a sudden think somehow the thing that they're praying to is going to help us and not help them. And their agenda is to destroy us. And we being destroyed. Something's wrong. And then there's faith. Well, you got to have faith. Well, there's a point that, okay, you can have faith. I agree. I agree. We have to have faith that things are going to get better. But there's another point that you get to where you recognize faith without works is dead. And you realize, okay, well, I'm going to work to make things better. I'm going to make sure that I mark every year, and every year it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. What's up with our relationships? I remember when every house on my street had a mom and dad in it. 1960s, 1965. Everybody in the block had a mom and dad on it in the house. You all need to read the book, American Apartheid. And then you'll have a better understanding. There's a piece inside of there where they talk about what they did to dismantle the black family. They dismantled the black family methodically. They knew exactly what they were doing. They destroyed the black family. They pulled us out. They gave you this artificial power that was given to you by them, and just supported it, just watered it. Something's wrong. What's the greatest nation in the world? Do y'all know? Which nation is the greatest nation? Anybody? Speak up. It's okay. You know, I guarantee you a lot of you won't get it right, but it's okay. Say it anyway. United States. Okay. Somebody else said what else? What else you say? The African nation. Okay. What else? The greatest nation in the world is imagination. The greatest nation in the world is imagination. And we, from the time our children are 0 years old, are destroying the imagination of our children by getting them glued to a box that causes them to be confined to whatever it is that's being presented to them and overstimulated so that certain things that need to happen inside of our brain don't happen. They don't happen. Because when you destroy the natural, if you take a rubber band and you overstretch it, it loses its bounce. We've destroyed the natural greatest nation on the planet. When you think about what we had the capacity to do, we were communicating with people in other galaxies. Nobody else can even confirm that somebody else is on another galaxy. We was communicating with them. We were flying. We were levitating. We could heal people by touching them. We could communicate with one another without a cell phone. We were, there's so many claims about capabilities that we had that has slipped through, because they didn't let that through. Nobody, don't tell them that they can fly. Last thing I need is have some Africans out here in my backyard flying. Which is why the infiltration of the religion, the infiltration of the culture has to take place. They have to destroy the cultures in all other communities and all other nations. They are a cultural bandit, is the West and other countries. They're cultural bandits. They seek to destroy the culture so that you will never reconnect with your true self. Because truly, this isn't us. This isn't us. This is just the image of us as we are being played back in our own mind as a result of somebody else educating us as to this is who we are. Which sounds crazy, but it is. I was up here to talk about nutrition. I'm sorry. All of it is energy. Good energy and bad energy. Somebody is working against us, and we're going along with the program. I'm going to go down a couple of things, and I just want you to bear with me. Heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, cancer, arthritis, asthma. I could probably name another 10. Where we rank number one. We rank number one in these diseases, right? None of them are a disease. All of them are a nutritional deficiency. Every single one of them are a nutritional deficiency. Remember I said who the largest immigrant population was, right? The largest immigrant population of people that came over here decided to take over the food supply of the United States of America: Monsanto, Arthur Daniels Midland, Syngenta, Bayer, Dow, DuPont. Germans took over the food supply because they knew what I found out the day that I realized I was going to open up a vegan restaurant. I was sitting working in the IT world, connecting up computers for a food conference, and this woman who's practicing her speech in the front of the room, she says, "If you control a man's food." Now I'm working, I'm listening. Okay, that sounds interesting. Let's keep working. You control him. At the moment she said him, that $125,000 a year job that I was doing, making tons of money, bragging about I was the first black to do this, the first black in this position, the first black to land this size contract, it meant nothing. Nothing. I said, I've got to come back to my community, and we've got to control our food. Because somebody else is controlling our food, and we're all overweight. And I remember looking at Soul Train videos, and I was like, wait a minute now. Everybody's skinny as a rail. Everybody's dancing and doing splits, jumping up in the air, and somebody's there to catch them. Ain't none of us jumping up in the air, and Lord knows ain't nobody catching us. That's just 30, 40 years ago. And in that span of time now, all of us are sick. Black women are now, and black men, but more so black women are now bragging about the obesity as though it is now, this new thing. This is the new thin. This is the new thin. Fat. This is the new healthy. Unhealthy. That's called brain damage. That's brain damage, and it hurts. Because you can't help it. I can't figure out how to get out of this box. I tried everything. I did this, and I did that, and I did. You went to the same man who got you sick to get you well. The same man. You hear those commercials. You all remember in D.C. I'm going to go into another area for a minute. In D.C., they were telling us about no doc, no job, no background, no nothing loans that you could get on houses out here in Prince George's County. Just get your black ass out of D.C. You ought to know the connection. Everybody's flocking out to Prince George's. I can get a house. They're going to throw in a Benz 550. They're going to throw in the Benz. I'm going to get the house. I only make $12 an hour, but I'm going to get an $800,000 house and a $100,000 car. Girl, I'm paid. Yeah. And that business ballooned in 3 months, and you was out on the street. You ain't had that $500,000, $100,000, or $1 million house in D.C. You didn't have the house in Prince George's. You was homeless and living with your cousin in Alabama. Something's wrong. We're sick. And we don't accept that we're sick. We're making sickness healthy. Yeah, you know, I got good insurance. Yeah, I got good insurance, and I'm on metformin. I got 7 medications that I'm on for high blood pressure, and I got medication for my arthritis. I got medication for my diabetes. I got medication for, you know, these headaches that I get all the time. I got medication for the acne breakouts all over my skin and the eczema and the psoriasis. I got medications for everything. I got a good job, and the job pays for all that stuff, so I'm good to go. In sickness, we have now decided to find comfort. Like, oh, I'm okay, because he loves me, and that's all that matters. Come on, man. Something's wrong. I've just been given my 5-minute notice. I thought I was just doing my own introduction. That was my own introduction, so now I was about to start. I'm sorry. When you all find people that are healthy, you know, they have a heart attack or a stroke, it's a nutritional deficiency. It isn't that you should now downplay somebody's desire to be healthy. It's that they weren't properly supplementing their diet. And as a result of really stressing and straining their heart, the heart or the vascular system, cardiovascular system can get stressed and they can have an issue. We have to be real careful, man. We have to know that there's a way for us to get out of this. And we have to do it as a group, because we can't do it individually, because individually it's hard. It is hard. Trust me, I'm a vegan. I've been a vegan for 42 years, plant-based for 42 years. I was plant-based. You all are blessed. Y'all get food like this. I was eating plant-based food back when you took a piece of tofu and you fried it, you put ketchup and mustard on it, put it inside of a bun, and you called it a hamburger. Or you could put some tartar sauce on it and some Old Bay, and it's a fish sandwich. It was the same thing, though. You put some A1 sauce on it, make it a little bigger, now it's a steak. Y'all got stuff that really tastes like it, used to taste. We're helping to make that transition smoother. I want to talk a little bit more, and then I'm going to close out AlQamar, I promise. The lifespan of those of us that live between Washington, D.C., on around the southern border to East Texas is the shortest in the United States of America. We've got to change our diet. We've got to start nutritionally supplementing what it is that we're eating. It doesn't matter whether you're eating a plant-based diet and you feel like, no, I don't need anything else. Your enemy controls your food. Unless you're planting it in the backyard and you're remineralizing your soil. I repeat, remineralizing your soil. Do you know how to remineralize your soil? Do you know what we used to do to remineralize your soil? Does anybody know what we used to do to remineralize the soil? Put worms in. What else? Horse manure. What else? Fulvic dirt. The simple thing that we used to do is we would take pot ash from out of our stove and from out of our fireplaces, and we put it back over top of our garden. We use potash in our food. Some of us are old enough to remember when Grandma would take some potash and crush it up, and we sprinkle it on our food because it's mineral dense. Minerals don't burn. So all the carbon would burn away from the wood, and all you're left with is the minerals. You would put those minerals on your food, and you would find that you would remineralize the body with the meals that you're consuming because of what you're putting on as a condiment. You know, we think everything that's a condiment is just designed to make it taste better. No, we did things back in the day because we know we need the nutritional additive to help us be healthy. What do we do now? We could do the same thing. But all of a sudden now they came out with electricity and they came out with oil, gas and oil. They came out with all this new stuff. So now we don't have a stove in our house, a wood-burning stove, and we don't have a wood-burning fireplace. So we're not taking those ashes and putting them out in the backyard. We don't have a garden. Some of us don't have a backyard. But that's where we need to go. I could talk more specifically about the mineral deficiencies associated with certain illnesses, but I would just say that if you're not getting antioxidants every day as a nutrient, this is an essential supplement. These are essential antioxidants. We have essential in front of that because your body does not produce them. You have to get it from external source. So you have essential antioxidants, essential minerals, essential vitamins, essential amino acids, and essential fatty acids. You have to get most of them from external source because they're not in the food anymore and the body doesn't produce it. So for those of us who believe that you can do this without supplementation, you're going to hit a brick wall. People who decide they want to go plant-based and they don't properly supplement, they call me up one night and they say, I'm out of energy, I'm going to eat a steak. Because I've never felt this depleted in energy before in my life, and I never felt that way when I ate dead animals. So I'm going to eat dead animals again. If you recall, just in the recent history, Africans didn't eat the diet that Americans have been eating for years, and they didn't have high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. They didn't have those illnesses until they started eating the diet that we consume. Did you all know that anger is associated with a nutritional deficiency? You have a bad relationship with your mate, and you don't look back and see what it is that you're doing on your plate, you will miss what it is that's causing you all to not be able to get along. You think it's something else. I mean, it's childhood. No, it's something that you fixed it for dinner. Something happened way back in the day. I don't know. I don't get it. But every time right after dinner, we just get to fussing. We fuss and we fight. We go to bed. He sleeps in that room. I sleep in this room. It's because of what we're feeding ourselves. For those of you who have those challenges that I listed, you give yourself 90 days on what I prescribe for you and give you to support you on the way to healthier, and you're going to get there. I don't care what it is. The body wants to be healthy all the time. Homeostasis is a continual pursuit inside of the body. The body wants balance. Balance between everything. It wants to keep everything balanced. When you decide you want to take it out of balance, or when your environment, because we're so stressed out, as black men and women, we're stressed. We got to think about, am I going to get shot today? Am I going to get pulled over by is a police officer behind me? You know, white people, when the police officer, they see the police officer, hi, officer. We look over the police officer, we don't look. We just hope that he's not there anymore. And we all do it, because you don't know whether this is your day. We stressed out. You see a fat white woman with a cell phone, and you're like, oh, Lord, let me go. You don't know. She might be calling them up on you. AlQamar, I promise, I'm just... PMS is a nutritional deficiency. PMS is a nutrition. Brothers, y'all want to, look, get her some proper diet, and that changes. We got to look at what we're doing to contribute to our own problems. All right. Well, I'll leave with this. This is something that I don't know whether I'll become famous for it, but it's something that I want you to keep in your mind the next time you decide you want to go out and grab something to eat. You know, there's been the establishment of businesses like these, and I established this in 1995 so that we could have a viable food source in our community, so that we could come someplace where we felt safe about eating the food that is being prepared. I can show you the cook. I can show you the spirit behind what it is that we're doing. The people know what it is that we're seeking to do for you, our community. And I want you to, as you consider making that choice tomorrow for lunch or dinner or even this evening, let's stop going to places that are causing us to be sick. And to help you along that road, I'm going to give them new names. So we got to stop going to Crackdonald's and Murder King and Taco Hell and Wind Disease and Chokers and Bow Strangles and the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease and Kentucky Fried Cruelty and Slick Fillets and Slop Eyes and the rest of that crap that's out there. We got to stop going to those places with the expectation of getting something that's going to heal us, knowing that they have no interest in making us better. We're on pharmaceutical drugs like candy. So many of us, if I told everybody to pull out all the pharmaceutical drugs in the room, it would be amazing. One, how much we got in our pockets and purses and whatever, or some of us wear patches now, and we do it for what, 3 months, 90 days, or whatever. We get an insert. It's crazy. We have to wake up and recognize that we're in an enemy space. And we have to come together and unify to strengthen ourselves and protect our community. We have to protect our children. I don't know whether it's real or not, but every like 20 minutes I get a little note on my Facebook page that this child has gone missing. I don't know whether that's the Russian bot or what it is, but if that's for real and ain't nobody getting up and doing something about it, we got a real serious problem. So I hope I have not depressed you. And that's serious, because I want you to be inspired to know that there are those of us who are prepared to help you and to guide you out of the circumstance that we find ourselves in. There are those of us who are on their way out. I can't tell you I'm out, but I know I want to get out, and I know I'm working to get out, and I'm making plans to go someplace else. And some people say, well, you can't get away from, yeah, you can. Yeah, it ain't this concentration, this level of concentration of evil does not exist all over the planet. Some of y'all have been outside this country, haven't you? Yes. I've been to places where people bow down and kiss my feet just because who I am and what I look like. I'm like, no, this ain't real. This ain't real. Look at me again. This ain't real. I'm a black dude from America. But yeah, we need to look at doing something external. And it isn't that we deny all the work that our mothers and fathers and grandparents and great-grandparents and all the stuff that they did. But today, real is real. And we going through some stuff that don't make sense. And until we can figure out how to make sense of this and build ourselves up strong enough to defend ourselves from it, let's go someplace else. Thank you all very much.
All right. One more round of applause for Dr. Baruch. Yes. Don't go nowhere. Okay, well, he ate up most of our time. Oh. But how can you tell the man of the house that he got to get off the mic? So, we had a half hour for question and answer. Well, in the interest of the vendors, we're going to shorten that to about 15 minutes. But I did want to get that in because I know you may have questions for our guests. So come on up, Koye and Dee. We have stools here. And online family, if you guys have any questions, shoot them out. We can get them from you as well. And we're just going to, do a quick question and answer session. Yeah, right on here. I'm going to move this back. Yeah. And just raise your hand for your questions, and we'll get started right away. Make sure you guys are in.
Come on back. Go ahead.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. 15 minutes, clock has started.
Okay, great. My name is Sherry Queen She Burden, and I'm a health coach. And I would like for each of you all to answer this question. I like to specialize on women that are over 50, which a lot of my clients are going through either premenopause and menopause. So if you could just please give me just any advice. I know a lot of people deal with hot flashes, like based on your expertise, mental health, because a lot of things affect, with menopause. So if you could please just give a comment on that.
And for the online audience, you could just briefly repeat her question because they may not hear it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go last because I'm going to speak mainly on the mental health aspect. Okay.
So for the online folks, basically, we have a health coach in the audience who was asking about advice for specifically women over 50 who may be dealing with postmenopausal issues, correct? Or premenopausal issues. So I'll just take from the perspective of, say, Chinese medicine, that women generally are dealing with, are dealing with this commodity we call blood. Men deal with the commodity we call chi, right? This energy. Women lose blood every month, right? And that blood, if it's not nourished, if it's not brought back into the system, can lead to deficiencies up the road. So generally what you can do is make sure that you're giving whoever you're dealing with something that's supremely rich in nutrition, nourishment, right? So if you look herbally, you can look at foods like horsetail. It's very rich in minerals, right? You can look at alfalfa sprouts, supremely rich in minerals. The roots go very deep, and they put a lot of minerals in. If I saw that person, I'd probably give them an herb called dong quai, right? It's very nourishing for the blood, and that blood that women are losing on a monthly basis needs to be restored. So that's what I would say. We can look to the blood and enriching that.
Thank you. I would agree with everything that our brother said. I would add to it black cohosh and definitely detoxifying your diet. If you're going to eat a toxic diet, then you can expect your body's not going to function well. So you want to make sure that you're detoxing your body. And if you don't know what that means, I can help you with it. But along with that, I think a great source of minerals I just added to the list is sea moss and bladderwrack and burdock. Sea moss, bladderwrack, and burdock. And that would be a great mineral supplement for you to build the body back up. But again, it's a nutritional deficiency. You get your nutrition up, you get your toxicity out, and you calm yourself. You know, so many of us, it's a system that many times is managed, or that's managed by your adrenals, or by the hormones, inside of your body. So when your hormonal system, your adrenals sitting on top of the kidneys are stressed, then everything becomes stressed, everything. So you got to get your body back into a normal space. Got to restore homeostasis so that, the body can come back into a good place.
Okay, and from a mental health perspective, we really have to think about what our culture says about menopause. And for many women, menopause is seen as a nightmare. Women dread it. They think that it means you're going to have these terrible hot flashes, that you're going to lose your mind, you're going to look haggard, look terrible, you can't have sex. So a lot of women, for one, I will say women don't talk about it. So a lot of women feel like they can't talk to their mothers about it if their mothers are alive. They can't talk to their aunts or their friends. Like if they mention it to their friends, it's like, girl, no, I'm not going through menopause. It's almost like a secret. So I would say one part is to really be able to be open about it and talk about it, because menopause is a natural transition. Every woman goes through it. No one stays young forever. And it is a loss of fertility, but it doesn't have to mean a loss of your life. So for women, they have to identify their goals. And if one is sexuality, then that can be dealt with herbally, but it can also be dealt with spiritually, because they're, mentally, because a lot of it is attitude. A lot of it is just being able to let go of a lot of that stigma and a lot of that shame that goes along with a natural part of life.
Thank you.
Speak up just a bit.
Oh, hello, everyone. Doctor, what juice did you just finish enjoying?
Oh, this is ginger pine.
How much sugar is in that?
Probably too much. But ginger pine is what I consume. And I do that to just help get my blood flowing. It was a long night last night, and I needed something because I was going to stand up in front of you all and get to raising the energy. So I consumed that.
Would you give one suggestion of a good juice without any high fructose corn syrup?
Oh, there's none of that in there. But there's a whole room full of it.
Diabetic issues.
Sure. There are a number of drinks that you can consume that do not have, I would say producing them yourself would probably be a great place to start. If you got your own blender or if you've got your own juicer, you can juice non-sweet fruit. There are a lot of fruit that aren't sweet. There's cucumber, and there are also vegetables that you can mix into that won't sweeten it up too much. But also understand that diabetes is yes, it's about making sure you're controlling and managing your sugar, because you've mismanaged your sugar or you've mismanaged your diet prior to, and you've caused the pancreas to now misfunction or not function at all. So you've got to balance the two. We need sugar in order to fuel the body, so you can't cut it completely off. But there's a way to do it through juicing and also just eating a healthy diet. Stop drinking your sugars and eat them. At least they absorb a little slower. And don't go overboard. No matter what, don't go overboard. And you want to make sure that there's a list of things that you would do. I'll go through it real quickly. Chromium, vanadium, zinc, and magnesium. You make sure that you're getting those minerals and vitamin D. Make sure you're getting those minerals inside of your body, that hormone vitamin D. You make sure you're getting those up, and you're going to find your body comes into a normal space. A great fruit to consume, although it doesn't taste very good, is bitter melon. Yeah, bitter melon is very good for helping you come out of that situation.
ADHD, you said something about ADHD, and it's the result, ADHD being a result of depression at times. I want to know if you expound on that. I kind of missed it.
Well, in children, depression, the question is does ADHD, are there any links between ADHD and depression in children? And with ADHD, I feel that there are many children who are depressed, they're dealing with depression, and it looks like ADHD. So when you're dealing with a 6 and 7-year-old, it's very rare for a doctor or psychologist to diagnose them with depression. A lot of the depression inventories, it's really hard for them to even score in that depressed range on the checklist. So ADHD is just sort of like that catch-all diagnosis. And what ends up happening when the child gets 12, then that's when you can get into more of the depression, the pre-bipolar is another term for it, but and all the other diagnoses.
And adult ADD is then what?
So with adult ADD, see, ADD is a childhood disorder. So I always am a little skeptical when I meet an adult who says, well, I was diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. I'm like, how does that happen? It's a childhood disorder. So it has to be diagnosed, for me, in my clinical opinion, it has to be diagnosed when you're a child. When you're an adult, you can have anxiety, which can look like ADHD, where you have difficulty with your organizational skills or your executive functioning skills. That can be anxiety or depression, but I don't believe that an adult can be or should be diagnosed with a childhood disorder.
How do you think that can be rectified, like physically, emotionally, spiritually?
Okay, so how can symptoms of ADHD be rectified emotionally and spiritually? Well, the thing is, with what you're talking about, symptoms of ADHD, you have to really get to the root of what's causing it. Is it anxiety? I know a 40-year-old woman who says, you know what, I feel like I have ADHD. Well, I asked her, well, how'd you do as a child? How'd you do in college? Were you able to organize yourself? She said, yes, but I'm going through something so stressful right now. I can't manage my checkbook. I can't manage myself at work. I don't know if I'm coming or going. So it's that stress. So that's getting to the root of what was going on with her. So being able to find ways to cope with the stress, finding ways to deal with that anxiety, grounding activities or whatever, talking it out is a good way to deal with that anxiety so that she can then organize her life.
We have 5 minutes left, y'all, so let's keep it one question per person. Yes?
I like you repeat the list of restaurants.
I'll do it offline. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Can you talk to me about stevia?
Stevia.
It's a sweet thing.
I'll let Doc handle that better. 'Cause that's
Stevia, I don't know what the amount of sugar is that we consume today. But I know I remember reading a report about 20 years ago, and they said the amount of sugar that we were consuming that day was equivalent to the amount of sugar that we consumed 100 years ago in a year. So what stevia has done for us is it has allowed us to consume a sugar or a sweetener that tastes sweet to the tongue, but does not have the high whatever index is. What is it? Glycemic index. So that allows us to absorb or to consume more of it. I don't know that that's the best thing that we should be in search of, but it's a better sugar than, of course, your white sugar, I don't want to name the companies, but this crap that you can get at your grocery store, it's better than that. But we ought to be looking to protect ourselves and retrain our tongue. And we retrain our tongue and we begin to consume less of that, and we find that our body has less of a demand. And believe it or not, sugar is probably the most addictive substance on the entire planet. That's why they can create, all of these different forms of sugar, and we want them all. We even want the artificial sugars. If it's not sweet, we put ketchup on everything. If it doesn't taste good, I know what can fix it. Ketchup can fix it. Ketchup has more sugar in it than ice cream. But so I think it's just a plant-derived sugar, and it's derived primarily from the leaves of the stevia plant.
So it's okay to use a small amount?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, and it depends on where you are with your health. If you're in a good space, then yeah, it's okay. It's probably, you could do maybe more than somebody who's got diabetes, even though, again, it's got a low glycemic index. But it's okay. We need sugar, like I said.
And I just wanted to add that real quick. They did a test where they figured out emotionally when people are reaching for sugar, what they're reaching for is really nourishment. Right? The first sweet thing that we tasted was our mother's milk, and that's why it's so addictive. Because whenever you go back into your primacy, when you needed to feel nourished, the breast milk gave you that feeling. So when we're looking for sugar, we're really looking for breast milk again. We're looking to be held, nourished, comforted, right? And that's really what the sugar addictions are. That's underlying sugar addictions. So you want to be able to take a look at emotionally what's going on, not just physically when you're reaching, if you find yourself reaching a lot for sugar.
Can you tell me about corn? And what is it about corn that when my grandsons eat it, and they go to the bathroom, it's all out?
Yeah, we don't digest corn. We don't digest it. No, we don't digest corn. So, and especially corn in that form, it doesn't get digested. So how it goes in is how it comes out.
It's no nutritional value.
To say that it's no, we just know that we do not digest it. So we know that the body has rejected that it does not have the capacity and it's reached its tolerance level of being able to accept, assimilate, and absorb what it is that you're taking in. So that being the case, if it's coming out the way it went in, it's just an indication for you. Now everybody's going to go through that. Some people can digest corn that comes out and it's all good, but for many of us, we have an intolerance. Just don't consume it. Yeah.
So we're getting the signal. I guess the time is up.
I was supposed to ask the question.
But probably maybe some of us will still be around. If you have questions further, we can ask while we support our vendors who really, what it's really all about. Is that the script?
That's it. That's the script. Verbatim. Give it up for our panelists, family, please. Dr. Baruch, D, and Okoye. So they are here. Support them as well. If this is your first time here at Everlasting Life, please come back and see us again. Don't make it your last. It's a black-owned establishment. So you're not only eating healthy, but you're supporting and circulating the dollar within your own community. And this man here does so much for this community. So, yes. All right. So there it is. We're going to open the floor back up to the vendors. So the vendors are still here. Please support them. That is the reason for the season, why we do this each and every first Saturday. And if you have any questions, like my brother said, just catch them on the floor, and they'll be happy to answer them for you.
Mama, let us know how we can share this with all the people that are not here, but that must hear this information.
Thank you so much for that excellent question. Where is my flyer? I have the Empower Hour talk show. I have a flyer in the back. And can you hold your flyer up, sis? Sis, hold your flyer up. They look like that, right on the back.
Bring it up.
They have, this whole recording is going to be on YouTube. And the YouTube link is on that flyer. So make sure you go out with the flyer. Share this with all the people in your community, your friends, your family, your loved ones. Let them know that, this information is out there and it's free. Some people spend hundreds and thousands of dollars for this information that they're giving to us for free. Okay, family? Oh, yes, I was mention that, but do it again.
Okay, and just want to let the family know that Dr. Runoko Rashidi, a world-renowned historian, anthropologist, scientist, and among other things, is going to be here tomorrow speaking. So if you all are in the area and want to get educated and empowered, the doors open up at 2, and the event starts at 3 o'clock. I heard him speak last night. He's off the chain. It's going to be like that. The tickets, no, there are no advanced ticket prices, so you know you can just you can either buy them online or you can buy them at the register. Okay. Yep. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
Yes, yes. All right, so that is it for our session here. Again, please support the vendors in the room. If anybody is here as AKA, any AKA in the house? No, not the AKA. Okay. No, I just had a gift for AKA on my table, but sign up on the database if you want the text messages or reminders for these type of events. We're always doing something here at Everlasting Life. See me in the back for that. In 2 weeks, Hidden Colors 5, family. If you guys have not seen Hidden Colors 5, we will be airing it on the big screen right here in 2 weeks, Friday after next. So get on the database and we will send you a reminder about that as well. So Hidden Colors 5, Friday night movie, dinner and a movie. And then if you guys wanted to know any more about this sugar conversation, I know they touched on it, but the Minister of Wellness will be on our program. You can get the information on that same flyer that you're going to take for the YouTube link. That also gives you information about our radio program. The Minister of Wellness is going to be on our program talking to us about the #1 drug of choice, sugar. So that's coming up as well. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think we got to go.
All right, family.
We got to make ourselves feel a better environment.